What's up, guys? Welcome back to Don't Inhale. It's Jay, and today we're going over the Bandolero Serie C Clandestino. So, of course, everybody knows the great Nelson Alfonso, or one of the great hands that had a big influence on the Cuban Bahique. So the Bandolero Serie C is rolled under Nelson Alfonso and Select Tobacco, distributed under United Cigars. I smoked the Toro version. It came with, or it has a Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, binder and filler undisclosed, of course. If you guys know Nelson Alfonso or anything about him, he does a lot of undisclosed binders and fillers. And his cigars are rolled in Costa Rica. With that being said, a lot of people say that cigars that are usually rolled in Costa Rica with undisclosed binders and fillers are Cuban tobacco. Is it? I don't know. You guys have to be the judge for that, to try it out for yourselves. But do I think this cigar is Cuban influenced or has Cuban tobacco? Personally, for this one specifically, I don't think so. Because honestly, it was just kind of too good. The taste of the cigar throughout it constantly was changing from the first third to the second to the very end. I got different flavors throughout the entire cigar. The first third of the cigar, I had this instant taste of spice, slight bitterness, and the strength was about medium to medium plus. Mostly a bitter / spice taste, but the spice wasn't overwhelming, which was pretty good. As the cigar developed into the second third, the spice started to slowly fade away, and I started to get more of a nuttier and creamier taste that started to develop. And throughout the second third of the cigar, the nuttiness and the bread notes started to really flourish and started to really take over the cigar. And man, I wish that second third of the cigar lasted the entire cigar. To me, that was one of the best second thirds, or during that current moment when I was smoking that cigar, it was probably one of the best cigars I had in a long time, which is really high praise for me because I usually don't say that about any cigar. But man, that second third, it was very memorable to me. But as the second third started to end and the final third, the cigar started to pick up more of went from medium to full body. And I tend to not really like cigars that are way too full body, but it was a good full body. And the bitterness, the spice almost completely went away throughout the second third, and at the end of at the last third, the bitterness kind of picked up a little bit more. The spice was gone, but man, it became a chocolate bomb. That's almost one of the best ways I could describe it. The taste was just so rich, so dense, so decadent. It was something where I don't think I've ever tasted a cigar that tasted this much of chocolate in it, to be honest. With no artificial flavorings, no nothing of that. It was just pure tobacco goodness. And the bitterness I got wasn't a weird bitterness or it felt out of place. The bitterness was almost a dark chocolate bitterness instead of a coffee ground bitterness. So it was very slight, smooth, and creamy. The overall construction of this cigar was pretty much perfect from the beginning to the end. I could have smoked this entire cigar until it touched my fingertips, to be honest. But the burn lines were perfect. I never had to touch it up. You can really tell that when Nelson Alfonso decides to do something with cigars, he really puts his whole heart into it, because this cigar, for the price range around the $15 to $20 mark, I personally don't think you could find a lot of cigars that are better than this one. And especially if you compare it to the Cuban market, $20 nowadays when it comes to Cuban cigars only gets your foot in the door, really, for something that's pretty good. But man, for this cigar, $15 to $20, I think this cigar right here is a box-worthy cigar. I would buy a box if I could find it for a good price, for sure. Construction was perfect. Burn was perfect. Price point was fairly good. I don't personally think there's many cigars out there that you could get for $15 to $20 that are better or can even compare. with all of that being said, I truly give this cigar about, for the price point, maybe even a 9. But overall, of every cigar I've ever smoked, let's say we throw the price out the window, it's still an 8. It's a very high score, very good cigar. A cigar that I suggest every single one of you guys try if you haven't yet. And if you try this one, go check out a couple of the other Bandolero series. They have the Series A as well. And I think there's Series B and a couple other ones. I can't really remember off the top of my head. Oh, it's the Series T, actually. I'm sorry. But, yeah, as we go over just an oversight of the cigar once again, Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper with a reddish hint to it, almost looks like exactly like the color of the band, which they picked perfectly. Binder and filler undisclosed, as all or majority of Nelson Alfonso's higher end products are. Yeah, rolled in Costa Rica, and personally, for $15-$20, there isn't much else you could get, or much else that's better than this. And if you like this review, check out the cigar, check out a couple of our other videos. Until next time, don't inhale.